everyone, I'm Didi.
Hey everybody, Armand here, Chi Skills, and welcome to our podcast. Today I'm so very pleased to introduce a new column. It's called the Qigong Kitchen, and it's all about mastering your diet. Because Didi, we soon found out when we started ourselves that the effect of our diet on our being is unbelievable.
Yeah.
So learning how to tweak this is essentially a Qigong skill, isn't it? That's
Absolutely.
how we consider it.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it has such an impact on your whole system, and being aware of it, and being consciously, eating the things that fit your state at that particular time.
So people are thinking now, what was she saying? But because this is the key, of course, right? We as energy beings, we are constantly being influenced, right? Our state is constantly being influenced from outside influence, from inside influence. So we are complex energy beings.
Absolutely.
And since food is energy, this energy is going to have an effect on you as an energy being in lots of ways. Yeah. And this sort of gets rid of the idea, if you approach it like this, as a one-size-fits-all diet, which we are so brought up with, right? In our culture, it's like, well, you eat this, you eat that, this is healthy, this is healthy, this is healthy. But it's much more complex than that. And we are going to explore in these columns how we can approach this.
Yeah, approach it. And it's so much to do, how to optimize your digestion in every way. So not just the food that you eat, but how you eat it and what circumstances you live your life That's all part of the game.
It's a pillar, I would say, of our internal development. Yeah. It's such a huge pillar, and it's often ignored, I guess. It's because it's pretty obscure, the things we're talking about here.
And I always say it's one of the things that are so much. It's something we do every day. If you really look at it, then every minute that you're awake, you're either going to a meal or just had a meal, or it's
in between doing it. Yeah.
So it's such a profound thing that is with you all the time, your whole life. And we sometimes forget about it. And because it's such a profound thing that's with you every day, it has such a big impact.
And this gives us also, if we become more aware of it, the chance to fine-tune, so it doesn't go unaware, right? It just will be very aware, and it becomes such a huge part of your training. So looking at food from a different standpoint, as food being energy itself and having a direction, having an influence. This is more of a traditional approach, isn't it?
Didi? It is because I think in the early days, and we're talking about thousands of years ago, they already knew what the impact of food, and they said, well, most people know the expression, food is your medicine.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And I think not a lot of people realize how much that is true, because it works in the same way as herbs, and because we eat every day, it has such a big impact.
Yeah.
But how does that work? Because we are energy. Just realize we are energy beings, and now you have like an apple, which is also, it's a living thing. It grows, it has energy in it, and it also is energy. And it has directions of energy, which you can explore when you taste it by the taste and by the temperature. So the effect that the food has, we experience while eating.
Yep.
If we are aware. And even some foods are much easier to explore because they're so in the face.
Right.
And that's what we're gonna do to explore. Like, first you start with the foods that are so wow. Well, you just think about some foods with a very clear direction.
Yeah. So can you go a little bit deeper in that direction thing? Because I think I know what it is.
Yeah.
I think for a lot of people, this becomes a little bit more mysterious. What does she mean with the direction? I think most people can understand there's an energy, right? There's an energy in it. But how does energy behave? And in relation to us, because we are also...
Absolutely. So, well, let's take lemon. Everybody can get this picture in their head of what it does when you eat a lemon.
Well, we can try that. So imagine, everyone listening.
Yeah.
So
you have a lemon. You cut the lemon.
We cut the lemon, right? And then
you take a bite.
And we take a bite. So
what happens?
Now watch what happens. Observe. There's something happening in the energy, even if you just imagine it.
Yeah.
And the energy does.
Well, just imagine what happens to your mouth.
Yep.
Eating it, and you feel that a lemon is very sour. So what it does, I already making this movement with my hand, but it goes inward.
Yep. Yeah, it contracts.
It
right?
contracts.
It becomes smaller. It goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's smaller. It contracts. It kind of get everything together, and that is the direction of lemon. And there is this sweet tone. We have this great Italian lemons here. So we have this beautiful, you taste the summer in it. You feel this sour, sweet, cooling effect.
Yeah, because that's what I wanted to mention as well. For you, if you're energy aware, and you might also notice now at this moment that you get not only this contracting because of the sour taste but that you also feel a cooling effect in the system happening.
Absolutely.
So we have two things. We have a direction and we have an influence in temperature. So you were earlier talking about temperature, and some people might have been like, temperature, what does she mean? This is what we mean, right? There's an effect in the system, temperature-wise.
Cooling. So why do we drink lemonade during the summer? It's because of that effect.
Yeah.
It has this cooling, it has this inward effect. And now here's the magic that I really love. So what you see, that lemon belongs to wood element in the 5 elements. And the wood element stands for springtime. And the energy that belongs to wood element is a very upward, outward energy.
Yeah,
it's a very young energy. We're almost in. Yeah, we're in spring.
Oh, let's hope that
spring.
it.
So what you see outside is that things are starting to grow in this springtime, and they
come up.
And they come up, and they go to.
Yeah.
I was walking the dog this morning. You see these plants coming through concrete. They're so strong. Well, this is the energy that belongs to wood element. It's very outgoing. So how does this represent in ourselves?
Yeah.
So if it's healthy,
so
then it's balanced.
In balance,
In balance.
The ideal situation, if you will.
Then the energy is playfulness. It's creative energy. It's it's very much the out there, but controlled. I wanted to say, but a little bit controlled, because if it's out of control,
it's all over the place.
All over the place. There is frustration. There is this. When you see someone getting angry, you almost feel like, oh, it's going upward,
of course, it's like
outwards.
And you feel bang, and then the explosion comes, and
you see people getting red in the face, and the screaming. Well, get my point?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
People will understand that. You know,
Yeah.
this is one of the if we're talking imbalances,
Yeah.
because if we're talking now, we're not talking about the food now. We're talking about our energy
ourselves.
being.
Yeah.
You know, where we live in an urban area. You know, there's a lot of impatience, and there's a lot of this stress state has a lot to do with an out of balance wood element.
Absolutely.
Right. So what happens? There's too much of a
yang going upwards.
Yep.
So heat going upwards.
Yeah.
So for people who experience this, now think about the lemon. So think about this state of frustration, anger, and now think about the lemon.
Yeah. So now take it. So if you go into a frustrated state, you can even imagine it, right? Maybe you're not in it yet, but feel how you just imagine and just fine-tune your state to this frustrated state. Just act like impatient. You feel contraction in your muscles. You feel this going up. You feel heat coming. And now take a bite of the lemon.
What happens?
It's turning it around.
It's turning it
around because the energy is not this yang anymore. It becomes yin. It starts to contracting, and I feel a coolness coming. Yeah. And I feel a quietness coming as well.
Absolutely. So that's how it works. But now, see what happens when I'm on the other scale, which is also wood element in a contracted state. You can also get like depression.
Yep.
So what happens when I'm depressed and I feel my body is weighing?
So if I go to some sad memory or something like that, I can feel like, my body starts crumbling, starts becoming more heavy.
Yeah.
I don't have my eyes on the horizon anymore. I'm just looking a little bit more to the ground, but I feel a heaviness.
Yeah. And now you take that lemon. What happens?
I take a lemon. It becomes worse. It does, actually.
Absolutely.
I feel more cooling, but I feel it's going even more inward.
Yeah.
So, depression, lemon, not the ideal combination per se?
Not so much.
Right.
So...
help me here. Give me something to...
but don't do that. But let's say, just for example sake, take a red pepper.
Okay. I cut it, and I take a bite. Whoa, I can feel it. Yeah, I can feel it shift now. Yeah. Even in my imagination, you can just feel this shifting now. It becomes more upward, more heat starts to build around my head now, more expansion. I feel my spine opening again. Yeah. But it's pretty extreme, I must say. Yeah. Yeah, so we have this is one of the extremes, right?
This is extreme.
Yeah. But it changes completely.
Yeah. So we have this expression in Dutch, which is if somebody is very slow, very, inward, and then we'll say you put some pepper in somebody's
bottom.
Yeah. And then to get some energy going.
Action.
But it's a very explosive energy. So you have to be really careful with that.
Yeah.
And so both, and now I'm taking some extreme examples because everybody kind of knows what direction these two have. But remember that every food, if you eat rice, if you eat, kind of nut, almond, or every food has a direction.
Yeah.
And it has an impact on your system. So especially when you eat foods that are no food, if you eat produced and stuff, it all has an effect on your system.
It still does,
you want to be very conscious about what you're eating, and know that it has an impact not just on your physical, I mean, most people, when they eat food, they think, I eat less and then I will become very slim and beautiful. But remember, it's not just the physical effect it has an emotional effect.
For sure.
Just what you were showing us, like with the lemon being depressed and eating something like a lemon makes you even more depressed, or so it has an effect
on the state.
On the state and on your mental state, because in the training, and this is why it's so important while you're training Qigong,
we're influencing all these aspects of our being, right? And there's such and of course I can imagine that most people will understand there's also an emotional thing around food, right? Because it's all about, we tend to do a lot of feel-good things for our mouth and our taste that get us into a sort of a state that we think, have a good memory of or something like that. But actually, and this is something we're going to explore, now if they start taking certain foods, like you're more of like inward and you don't feel really good and you're very used to taking this coffee every morning and boosting yourself, now you can get into an extreme thing and this can become its own imbalance and lead to dryness or all sorts of
especially when you're
problems.
When you're eating from, well, say that lemon. Just go back to the lemon. That's a good example. Now you say, but I have frustration and stress all the time, so I'm gonna take this lemon 3 times a day.
Yeah. But it's cool.
Yeah. So you're gonna create your next disbalance.
Yeah.
Imbalance. And now you have this state which might come from drinking a lot of coffee, eating a lot of hot stuff,
Yep.
But now you take that lemon as well. Now you experience that you're both angry and frustrated all the time, but you also feel cold. You have cold feet, cold hands. So
these can all work at the same time, and that's a problem. So it's such a fine-tuning process to see. Okay, so there's this depressed state. You have to, start working with that. But it's not as simple as putting another extreme opposite, because that's going to create this other imbalance. So how to approach this is this is Qigong, because this is about fine-tuning and understanding and seeing the whole system and starting to neutralize first, I guess.
First neutralize. So and analyze. What we do is first analyze yourself. Where am I? Where am I at this particular point in my life? My own system, but also the outside.
Yep.
Because it has such a great effect.
Yep.
Like if it's winter time and I again drink this lemon, it has such another impact than when I drink that same lemon juice during summertime when it's nice and warm. And
well, lemons don't even grow here, right?
No.
I mean, and there's I guess a reason for that, because we have other stuff that's good for us, right?
Absolutely.
More local stuff that will
Most of the food that grows around you is more in the range of what you should eat. And the thing is, well, we live in the Netherlands, which has quite a mild climate, so we don't tend to have extreme tastes here.
Right.
We tend to have more like more neutral food.
Absolutely. Well, it's a mild climate, but in this sense, the switching between seasons can be pretty extreme in temperature drops or rising energy. So we're not like very extreme in high and in low, but we're extreme in bouncing between the two sometimes, and that gives other imbalances, I guess, right?
But thing is that you always want to go to the middle here. And if you live in the tropics, which in in a sense, it's much more extreme climate in high temperatures and humidity that you see a lot of foods that we really enjoy because it has such a kick in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It has such much more extreme foods, tastes, but it fits much better in these conditions.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So wow, this is really something.
Yeah.
And it's an art, but I think switching states is influencing your state in every way is the thing here, and that starts with neutralizing first,
absolutely,
right?
Absolutely. So, but the thing that you have to remember, okay, everything that I eat has an impact. If that's the only thing you take away from this podcast, that's huge already, because for a lot of people, they don't realize, and they just do as everybody does.
Yeah, and exactly, and it's good to know that these traditional systems have started to journal these experiences and came up with charts of like what does a certain food have of an effect, and this becomes your tool and your framework where you work with. And that gets you out of, and this is also important, out of the one-size-fits-all thing, because it just doesn't exist. It's just not like that. Of course, we know that we can sort of understand this is a food and this is not a food, and that's an important thing, and that gets you sort of in the right direction, but it's way more intricate than that, and that's what we're going to explore in future podcasts. And
absolutely.
Well, wow, amazing! I love it, and I'm so really looking forward to sharing this stuff. And I hope you like this as well, and get curious for the next one, because
absolutely, yeah.
Well,
so, hope that was helpful, and
see you in the next one. Okay, bye.